What's happening, everyone? It's the Irishman back again. Cracking day out here in Vancouver. Spring starting to kick in. Feeling refreshed, feeling good after last session's win. Had a good weekend. Went to the rugby sevens. Lots of drinking, lots of fun. If you don't know what the rugby sevens is, it's like darts but rugby. Everyone dresses up, everyone gets on the drink. It's just a big party atmosphere, so definitely recommend checking it out if it's ever in your city. I've never been to a rugby game before. We were punting hard on the rugby. Don't think we won one bet, but we've no clue about rugby, so that's to be expected. Today we are going to Parq, the usual, jumping to 2.5 for $1,000. We're going to see how we get on. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button. Anyways, thanks for the continued support. These are all a bunch of legends. So we'll see you now at the tables. What's happening, everybody? It's the Irishman. We're back again here with another poker vlog. Today we're at Parq Casino, jumping into 2-5 game. We're in for $1,000. I know it seems like we're at Parq all the time, which we probably are. It's the closest casino to where we live, but next week we're going to be back with a vlog out in Granville. It's always wild out there. Kicking off the first hand, we look down at King 10 of spades in the cutoff and raise it to $20. The button calls, the small blind calls, and the big blind calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop here. Comes down a decent one. It comes to King of clubs, 9 of spades, 5 of hearts. So we flop top pair, but okay kicker. It checks to us and we fire a bet of $30 into 80. Only the small blind continues and we go heads up to the turn. Turn comes to 7 of clubs. He checks to us again. Now I think we can sometimes check here with a kicker as weak as ours. We're not beating too many King X that he should be calling, but this player definitely is a fish. He's more on the stationary side, so against better players sometimes I would check this back just for some pot control, but against the villain of this hand we're going to just keep going for value. We fire out a bet of $75 and he makes the call. There's 290 in the middle heading to the river and it comes to 10 of hearts giving us 2 pair. Queen Jack does now beat us, but he shouldn't have too many Queen Jacks. He shouldn't be calling twice with just a gut shot. So when it gets checked to us again, we're definitely going to go for some more value here. We're going to size up, hoping now that he has a better king and he's not going to fold it. We fire out a bet of $225 and he makes the fold. So disappointed not to get the call on the river, but nice to win the first hand of the session. In this hand, we look down at Queen 9 of diamonds in the hijack. Going to be good enough for a raise here. We open it on up to $20 to go. The cutoff makes the call and the button makes the call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop here. There's 67 in the middle and it comes down Queen Jack 6 rainbow. So we flop top pair, pretty weak kicker here. We're going to check just as we're out of position to 2 players. We don't want to be betting all of our Queen X. This is one of the worst queens we're going to have in this spot. So I think this makes a fine check. The cutoff checks and the button checks behind. So it checks through. We're going 3 ways again to the turn and it comes another Jack pair on the second card. We're going to check again now. We're out of position. One of these players could certainly have a jack. We don't want to be betting and getting raised. It puts us in a dicey spot. So we make the check. The cutoff fires out a bet of $60. The button folds and now we just have a slam dunk call here. He can be bluffing with hands like King 10, 9, 10. There's a bunch of hands that we're still ahead of. So we have a pretty easy call here and we go heads up to the river. River now comes another jack. So there's 3 jacks on the board. We make a full house. We're going to check it over to him again. He fires out an almost pot-sized bet of $175. Now, I think generally against decent players, this spot where you just always want to call because no one bluffs this spot. So if you get raised, you're only getting called by hands that beat you. He's going to just shove with quads and he's just going to call you with a queen and probably never call a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 8s. But looking back, the player in the hand definitely was a recreational player. So I think this is a spot where actually I should just main click it. And then if they go all in, we can just fold because they're never going to bluff that spot. They'll just always have quads. So I think we missed out on a bit of value there. It's definitely very player dependent. Against some players, you just want to only click the call button. So I think we maybe cost ourselves a bit of value there unless he was just bluffing with complete air. So in this hand we do something we don't do too often at the table, but the guy sitting to our left had just lost a big pot about an orbit ago, and the next couple of hands he was 3-betting every pot. He was trying to gamble a stack in. He had about $400 or so. So We looked down at fours under the gun one, and usually we'd come in with a raise with this hand, but I felt like he was just going to three bet us, and cause he only had 400, we just have to fold a lot. So we end up coming in for a limp, which we don't do too often, but just based on the situation that was going on, we decided if we limp here, we can definitely limp call. Where if we raise and get three bet, we can't really call with pocket fours. So we make the limp. He limps behind, oddly enough. A player in middle position also limps before. A player in late position makes it $30 to go. All three of us call, and we head four ways to a flop. Flop comes down a pretty bad one for pocket fours. It comes Queen 10-7 with two diamonds. So we flop an underpair here, virtually nothing. If anyone bets, we're just going to dump this hand. We check it, and it surprisingly checks all the way through. Dealer gives us a bit of help on the turn before fanning the four of hearts. So now we have bottom set here. We're definitely going to want to start betting here. There's three players to act behind. We fire out an overbet of $175 into $120. The original raiser calls, so we go heads up to the river. River comes to seven of spades, giving us a full house. Now we need to decide how big we want to bet. We decide on a sizing of $425, and he pretty quickly makes the fold. I think we misplayed the river here. We should have thought back to the flop when he checked behind, and if he had a hand like aces, kings, ace, queen, he wouldn't have checked these hands on the flop. So I think we shot ourselves in the foot there by going too big. We got too greedy. He's more likely to have a hand like pocket jacks or ace 10, and I think we want to use a smaller size and to make sure these hands don't fold. We should have bet a size closer to half pot. Something like this would have got the job done. I think he's way more likely to call that size than us absolutely bombing the river. It would have changed if he did bet the flop, then I think it's fine to go massive on the river, but we got too greedy and it ended up costing us some money there, so that's a bit annoying. So here's a hand we absolutely butchered. I think we got a case of fancy play syndrome against a fish, which is definitely not advised. We look down at the red snowman on the button and raise to $25. The small blind makes the call before the fish on the big blind raises to $80. Way too small of a three bet. We can't fold any hands we open to that size, especially being in position. We make the call and the small blind folds. So there's 190 in the middle. We're going heads up to a flop, and it comes down to two of clubs, three of clubs, seven of clubs. He checks it on over to us, and we decide we're going to go with a small bet here. We can certainly have the best hand. We want to bet small on these monotone boards. We can protect our hand against just some random, if he has a hand like king, queen of diamonds, hands like this which have six outs versus us. We make it $40, and he raises to $100. Another really small three bet. So for value, you'd expect him to do this with made flushes, ace king of clubs, ace queen of clubs. But given that he three bet the big blind, I don't think he has too many suited combos. I think he would just flat a hand like jack 10 of clubs. So I think he can also be bluffing with one club hands like ace king with the ace of clubs, ace king with the king of clubs. So we're going to make the call. We go heads up to the turn. There's 390 in the middle, and it comes to seven of hearts pairing the top card. He checks it on over to us again, which is pretty interesting. And now we need to decide, do we want to check back or do we want to just bet small? I end up deciding on a small bet. I think maybe we should just check back because it's a pretty interesting line that he three bets pre, check raises flop, then checks the turn. We fire out a bet of $125. Same reason as before. We want to protect our hand, get some value from some one club hands like ace king, ace queen with a club. He makes the call. There's 640 in the river before it comes to six of clubs. He checks to us again, and now I was deciding that my hand might be no good. Maybe he was check raising the flop with a hand like red aces, red kings, hand like this that just wanted to get more money in the pot on the flop. He didn't expect me to have too many flushes, but I can certainly have a bunch of flushes here, so it's kind of interesting. I think we should have just checked back and hope we had the winner at showdown, but we ended up putting our fancy play syndrome pants on. We wanted to bluff him. We turn our eights into a bluff and fire out a bet of $350. That money gets pretty quickly torched before he sticks it in our eye. He asks the dealer for the all-in button, please. We make the sheepest fold. We're left there sitting with our tail between our legs. We're after getting absolutely owned. We should have checked back the river. We could have played that hand so differently. I don't like how I played any of the streets, but it's interesting in game. Like, you're thinking at such a quick rate, it's easy to look back at the hand after and just be like, I butchered it, which I certainly did. But you know us, we like to go for it on the river. We thought we were no good. We fired out the bluff. We got it shoved down our throats. So we make the fold and we lose the profit. We're up so far, which is always kind of tilted. Now we're up stuck. So in this hand, for some reason the recording stopped after 30 seconds. I'm not sure why. I only realised that now as I went down to record the audio that there's only 30 seconds of the hand. But I have the notes here, so I'll run you through the action. Under the gun opens to 20, middle of position calls, the hijack calls, and I look down at ace-10 of spades on the button. We can go two ways with this hand. We can 3-bet, we can call. I decide on a call this time just because under the gun player is pretty tight, so I think they're going to be opening pretty tight range under the gun, so probably going to play better as a flat here, but we could certainly go with a squeeze. We make the call and we go 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes down queen, deuce, deuce, rainbow, so we just have ace high here. We've pretty much nothing. Gets checked to us. We're just going to check this back. Hopefully we can spike an ace on the turn. Turn comes to 10 of diamonds. It's not an ace, but it's the next best thing. Gets checked to us again, and now when it gets checked to us, I think no one would check a queen twice, so we probably have the best hand here. We've the best second pair hand, and given that no one has a queen, I think we comfortably can say that we have the winner here. We're going to start looking for some value now. We fire out a bet of $50 into 80, and only the hijack calls. There's 180 in the middle now. Going to a river, it comes to 4 diamonds. It's a complete blank. Gets checked to us again, and we're going to continue going for value here. We're confident we have the best hand. We can get called by a worse 10, maybe hero called by a hand like pocket 8s, pocket 9s. We fire out a bet of $100. The hijack pretty quickly makes the call. We turn over our second pair, and it's the winner. And for the final hand of today's vlog, there's a 10 straddle under the gun before a fish makes it 35 to go in the low jack. We look down at 5-6 of diamonds in the small blind. We can go two ways with this. Usually we play a 3-bet strategy out of the small, but we decide to call here for 2 reasons. Firstly, the big blind is pretty bad, so we want them definitely in the pot. Secondly, the original opener isn't great either, and with the 10 straddle being on, stacks are smaller. The stack to pot ratio is going to be smaller on the flop, so I don't think we're going to get much fold, so I think this hand is just going to play better as a call in this situation. We make the call, the big blind gets out of the way, and we're going heads up to the flop. There's 85 in the middle, and it comes down 3, 4, 5 rainbows. So we flop top pair and an open ender. We check it over to the original raiser, and they fire out a chunky bet of $75. Nearly a pot-sized bet. I think this could be a strong range here. I wouldn't expect ace king or ace queen to just blast so big on these boards. They certainly can be bluffing with that size and with that hand, so we're just going to make the call here. We're not going to go too wild with our top pair. We're hoping that we can turn a straight, maybe turn a 2 pair, and that's exactly what happens. The 6 of club rolls off on the turn. We now have top 2 pair. There is a 4-liner to a straight out there, but I wouldn't expect her to have too many 7s in this spot. We decide we're going to lead out here because if we check, this is just going to get checked back so often. If they even have a hand like queens, kings, aces, they're just going to check it back on a 4-liner. So this is going to be a way better card for us. We can certainly start bluffing. We have value here with our 2 pair. We fire out a bet of $125. The villain makes the call. We're going off to a river here. There's 485 in the middle, and it comes down the ace of hearts. So we're going to continue betting for value here, but it's kind of a bad card because if they did have a hand like 10s, jacks, queens, kings, they're now not an overpair anymore. So I think given there's a 4-liner to a straight out here, given some of the overpairs now aren't overpairs, I think we don't want to go with a big size here and make sure that they fold. We want to go with a smallish size and just make sure we get a crying call from these kind of hands. We fire out a bet of $140. We get pretty quickly called. We turn over our hand. It's good, and we have the winner. So nice finish to the session there. We did punt off a bit. We had ran it up, punted off to back below starting stack, and managed to run it back up to finish off with a decent win. We booked a win of $560. We were into the game for $1,000 and out for $1,560. So decent. That's 2 winning sessions in a row. Hopefully we can continue with the next vlog. I'll see you now on the outro. Right, so wrapping up the session, we were into the game for $1,000, out for $1,560 for a profit of $560. Decent result today. Happy with the win. Don't think we played as good as we could. We definitely butchered the 8th hand. Feel free to tear that apart in the comments, but if you haven't already, please subscribe. We have some fun stuff coming up the next month. We're heading back to Ireland for the Irish Open. Lots of Guinness, lots of gambling, lots of fun. I'll show you the entire festival, all the shenanigans that goes on out there. As always, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.